Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory. We've got some changes on the way, a few storms possible later tonight, although our severe weather threat is very low. Then as that rain moves out, sunny and less humid air takes over through the middle of this week, but we do heat things back up heading into Independence Day weekend. So let's start by talking about those storms. We have had a little bit of rain move through earlier this morning. Some of you may have even heard some rain and some thunder very early, like between 3 and 6 a.m. But that moved out pretty quick. Then we still had the clouds kind of hanging around through the first half of the day. Those moved out just in the past couple of hours, and now it's actually mostly sunny across the tri-state. What we're keeping an eye on is this next weather system that's moving through Missouri right now. As all of that pushes eastward, we could get some more storms a little bit later tonight. So for right now, it's mostly sunny across the tri-state, and that sunshine has also really helped warm us up. That has put more energy into the atmosphere though, so that could fuel some thunderstorm chances a little bit later tonight. Very isolated chance of a pop-up shower or storm this afternoon, but most of us will probably stay dry until late this evening, mainly after 8, 9 o'clock. That's when these storms from the west push into southeast Illinois and then cross the river into southwest Indiana and western Kentucky as we go through the overnight hours. After about 1 a.m. though, those rain chances really quickly start to taper off. We may still have a few spotty showers lingering into early Tuesday morning, but in general, tomorrow's looking mainly dry, and really the clouds clear out pretty quickly in the day as well. It is possible we could see an isolated strong or even severe storm as we go through the night tonight, but our chances are very low. You'll notice we're sort of right on the edge here where a large portion of the tri-state is in that green shading there, that level 1 risk. So an isolated strong to severe storm is possible, but notice this level 1 risk, I mean, it stretches from the East Coast up into the Great Lakes, down through the tri-state and off into Texas. This is a large area outline that anywhere in there you could maybe see an isolated severe storm. So this isn't a real focused, organized area of storms. And really, even if we do see any storms, we're not currently outlooked for hail or for tornadoes. The concern would be these storms may produce some downpours that could result in some localized flooding or an isolated damaging wind gust. But again, our severe weather risk is low. Generally, we're probably just looking at rain and a few rumbles of thunder, mainly later tonight when most folks are already home for the day and even in bed. I mentioned that the sunshine has really helped warm us up. Our temperature sat in the 70s for a long time this morning because we had those clouds overhead. It was kind of dreary. But then once that sun broke through, we quickly rose into the 80s and even 90s in some locations. It's 90 in Mount Carmel, 91 in Grayville. Evansville and Newburgh are both sitting at 87, but I think we'll tack on a couple more degrees as we go through the afternoon, so our highs will probably peak somewhere in the upper 80s to right around 90, so just a couple degrees warmer than we are right now. Then we'll gradually fall back through the 80s this evening with those rain chances picking up after the sun goes down and continuing through the first half of the night. Temperatures will drop back into the lower 70s, and then tomorrow any clouds or rain we see move out pretty early. It becomes mostly sunny as we get into the afternoon with highs in the upper 80s, which is really right around where we should be this time of year. But I do want to draw your attention to the wind. After those storms move through tonight, our wind direction shifts and cooler, drier air starts to come in from the northwest. So here's a look at the heat risk for the rest of this week. Notice we've got just a minor heat risk tomorrow. That's about as low as you'll see the heat risk go in the tri-state during the summer months. You know, just kind of typical summertime heat, not particularly dangerous through today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and into Thursday. Now by Friday, Independence Day, you'll notice that heat and humidity starts to creep back in and then really ramps up a bit, getting more into that moderate heat risk as we get into Saturday and Sunday. So that's something we'll be watching. That risk of heat-related illness will be increasing right around the same time we're getting into that holiday weekend and more folks will be outside. So just be careful of that. Some of that is related to the actual temperatures. Our highs tomorrow, like I said, will be in the upper 80s behind this cold front, bringing us this chance of storms tonight. That's right where our temperatures should be this time of year. We will climb back above average with those temperatures in the low to mid 90s through the holiday weekend, but really what impacts us so much this time of year is the humidity. It was just sweltering, miserable humidity for so much of last week, and it's still pretty muggy out there today. But after this cold front moves through, we see that humidity dip tomorrow, Wednesday into Thursday. Then it starts to slowly creep back up on Independence Day and really gets back into that miserable, just stifling humidity as we get into Sunday of next week, which is also when we see rain chances coming back into the forecast. So Independence Day, all in all, could be better, but could be a lot worse. It looks like we'll probably have lots of sunshine. It will be a little hot, highs in the low to mid 90s, but the humidity won't be as bad as it certainly could be this time of year. Then as we go through the weekend, especially by Sunday, the humidity cranks up, and with that, more moisture in the atmosphere, we do see the return of rain chances, but it's still just an isolated to scattered chance. We don't have any widespread rain in the forecast this week. So overall, not a bad looking 7-day forecast there. Checking a quick check of the comments here. Some folks talking about we did need a little bit of rain just to, keep the grass green and things like that. Some of you got some slightly heavy rain there early this morning, and some folks just saying, hoping that we don't have any bad storms. I would agree with that. And again, the chances of that are very low. We'll get some rain, maybe some thunder tonight. Wouldn't rule out some heavy rain or an isolated damaging wind gust, but again, the chances of any severe weather tonight are low. The main impact from that cold front tonight won't be the storms. It'll be the dip in humidity that we'll see Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So middle of this week, really looking very nice. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the forecast, but don't go anywhere. Jamie French and Robinson Miles will be right back with some of your latest news headlines.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices. Live from 14 News, this is a 14 Digital News Desk update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. We have a lot going on in the Tri-State today. Of course, a lot of things we're following from over the weekend, the end of last week, but also some breaking news. That's actually where we are going to be starting right now. So we actually have some breaking news today out of Owensboro. Owensboro police are investigating a deadly shooting. Now, they say this happened shortly before midnight this morning at an apartment on Hughes Avenue.
Yeah, police say they found 2 people with gunshot wounds. They say a woman who had been shot in the chest was found in the living room of an apartment complex. Now, this is a photo from a neighbor there of that apartment complex, so that's what you're looking at. The woman shot is expected to survive. Police also tell us that a man had been shot in the chest. He was found in a bedroom of that apartment, but then he later died at the hospital. So at this point, no names have been released in that shooting. Owensboro police are holding a sort of a news conference right now with us. We're going to continue to keep you updated. We do have our reporter Leslie Chapman there right now in Owensboro. She's gathering the latest information. She'll have all of that and more tonight on 14 News.
So that's the biggest thing that we're following today. Now, our other main headline is actually something that's carrying over from the end of this past week, and that is that many new laws went into effect on Friday. Now, a bunch of these we anticipated, we had been looking at, we've talked about a few of them, but now they're the real thing. It's no longer in theory. They have taken effect. Now, 2 of these in Kentucky could affect the ways that technology is in schools and the way that teachers and students communicate. Senate Bill 181 requires school boards to track online communication between students and staff. Now, this means students and staff are no longer allowed to communicate through the more common apps like Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat. The idea behind this is that Kentucky officials are hopeful the new law will help to protect students and to develop a more positive relationship with their teachers.
Now, another law that went into effect on Friday in Kentucky is House Bill 208. This would require Kentucky school boards to create policies completely banning the use of cell phones in the classroom. Now, we started talking about something very similar to this where they couldn't have their phones, students couldn't have them during instructional time. And now it's essentially like they can't have them at all. There are of course, some exceptions with certain emergencies, but they don't want students using phones inside of the schools at all. So our Isaac Calvert spoke with Senator Robbie Mills about his thoughts with these two laws, and he's also digging a little deeper into the new Indiana laws that are supposed to take effect tomorrow. One of them being, I know, a tax on tobacco products, so that's something that will certainly impact a lot of people and places of business as well. So he's diving into all of those laws and rules and legislations passing through right now, and of course a full breakdown later tonight.
Now, of course, those are our two biggest stories that we're keeping our eye on, but there is, again, a lot going on in the tri-state right now, a lot from over the weekend, a lot breaking today. So, of course, we invite you all to be a part of our evening shows, 4, 5, and 6, and, of course, 14 News at 10, where we'll be able to go into everything in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that will wrap things up this afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.